This is the St. Johns County Real Estate Auction Report brought to you by Vanta Quality Assets. You can find us at vantallc.com. Investors welcome. Now, let's go to court. And at the auction, we have just one property sold with lots of properties out there. One we couldn't even find, which is very interesting. No property card on it, but I'll show you what I mean. The first property that sold for $77,000. The reserve was at $49,222, and it's 464 Cabernet Place in St. Augustine, Florida. And this is the property right here. It's attached home, it's condo, and if you ask me, went for a little more than what we would pay, normally, or our Pro Max would be. But that's the way it goes, and God bless him as much as I can say, whoever purchased it. This particular property went back to the bank. Let me show it to you. There was some heavy bidding. There were no reserve. 2 Donneville Road, Unit 711 in St. Augustine. Pretty interesting place. Anyway, went back to the bank at 251. There was a lot of back and forth between the bank and some of the pros there, professional bidders. Again, didn't sell. This particular property, 437 South Horseshoe Road. Now this one went back to the bank. The reserve was way too high for this particular area, and of course nobody bid on it. Next property went back to the bank at $51,000. Pro Max was $253, no reserve. This is what I would call, what they were doing was probing because there was no reserve. But let me show you the property anyway. It's 1165 Inverest Drive. Very nice property. Love that backyard overlooking the forest. Excellent. Or what looks like a forest anyway. But of course, the property was not sold, and we didn't even bid on it. So CA 122286 is the next one. 444 Johns Creek Parkway. Nice looking property, a little McMansion there going on there. Problem is, it went back to the back at 180. Again, no reserve. There was a little bidding back and forth between the bank and one of the pros. We did a little bidding ourselves, but not too much. Didn't sell. Next one is 1480 Satsuma Road in Jacksonville. And this particular property went back to the bank. As you can see, the reason why is because the reserve was way too high. Next one, another one that there was a little probing going on, but it went back to the bank again. And the property is 283 Venetian Boulevard, St. Augustine, Florida. And didn't sell. No, probing wasn't enough, I guess. CA 131010, this is the next property right here. 928 Silver Springs Court. Silver Springs Court. Reserve was too high. Reserve was the same as the plaintiff total. Of course, no one bid on it. Another one that reserve was too high was this next property here. 1393 10350 Beckinger Avenue. This is in Hastings, Florida. Hastings is not all that great of an area as far as investments are concerned, especially when the reserve is this high. So nobody bid on it. And this is the property I was talking about. No card was found. I can't even show you the property, but anyway, the reserve was same as plaintiff total, and the bid was 100. So just couldn't find the property. Sorry, that happens once in a while. This particular property canceled, but let me show it to you anyway. 1070 South Winter Park Drive, St. Augustine, Florida. Now this is interesting. The bank that owned it was Condor, and it's not really a bank, it's a lender. They like to buy properties in distress, and they like to sell notes on this particular property. And of course they canceled. I don't know why, but that's another story. And I did contact them on this particular property prior and they did not want to sell to me for the price I asked for. Okay, this next property, 4508 De Leon Place, St. Augustine, Florida, and this one went back to the bank, no reserve, and we didn't do any due diligence on this particular property, but I gather it's either not very good or there was a lot of issues with the property itself. Anyway, no one wanted it, and we certainly didn't. We were not in a position to bid for it anyway. This particular property is the last one. It's 333 Bostwick Circle. 333 Bostwick Circle. And as you can see, the reserve was way too high, went back to the bank, and that's all she wrote as far as the auction is concerned. And in other news, I don't have that much to bring out, with the exception of this from dhort.com. Fourth quarter GDP revised downward. Hey, it's February. The fourth quarter GDP is revised downward. You remember me talking about those revisions? It's downward to 2.2%. How interesting. A decline from 2.6%. You may say, well, that's not that much. It's still a revision. Got to be careful about those initial numbers. And as far as the home issue is buying issue is concerned, new home sales fall slightly in January, back to 1990 levels. I wouldn't call that slightly, but the new home sales, not existing home, new home sales. Northeast, interesting, fall 53%, playing like the New York Knicks. I wonder if the weather has anything to do with that. And let's look at the 30-year fixed rate. Now remember, this is a falling channel right here. It's still within that channel. You're looking at a 5-year chart of the 30-year rate. Right now it's at 3.79. The technical prognostication brings this down to just about this level, which is about 3.33 to 3.5. What was it? 3.41. So I'm looking for the interest rates to go down even further, but that is technical in nature and not something that I would say is fundamental in nature. And let's look at, just hone into a 6-month chart. You can see interest rates did go up, especially late January, early February, but now it's kind of petered out, and seems like it wants to keep going down. So anyway, good bidding. Have no fear, and remember, please take your hats off. It's court.